Well, good afternoon, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. All right, so, things are heating up, of course, in the NFL between now and 4 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Time. Teams have to be down to the 53-man roster. Now, here's the thing, advantage-wise for the Dallas Cowboys, that they have technically, because they have 4 players that are still out on COVID, they don't count as part of the roster counting that we have right now. Also, too, Tristan Hill doesn't count right now because he's on the PUP list. So that's actually 5 players that we can kind of stash and try and make some moves around and so on. Now, here's the thing. I'm still working on my final 53-man roster, and I'll do a little live stream early this afternoon between that and doing some work in the workshop I've got to get caught up on. Get that stuff nailed together so that way it'll dry. What we're hearing, of course, in the NFL right now is like Nick Foles. The Bears are saying, well, Nick Foles is available for trade. We don't want to trade him to any place that he doesn't want to go, because we love him so much. But we'll listen to trade offers. What that means is we're going to cut him, and we're hoping that we can get something for him and get us some cap relief because of that contract that he literally fleeced out of the Bears. You think about Nick Foles. I know people will say that, we should sign him. He's great and everything else and stuff. But, he got a whole lot of money to go to Jacksonville for 1 year and didn't do anything. He literally went to the Bears, a team that has yet to ever have a 4,000-yard passer in their history. And he's third string there. There was not really a whole lot left in the tank. And, of course, you hear all kinds of rumors about this guy's available, that guy. We heard about Brandon Knight and Bradley Anae, that the Cowboys, might be getting offers for them. We heard that this morning, out there. Yeah, that's great talk out there. But the funny thing is we always hear about guys that might be traded. How long have we been hearing about Jalen Smith might be traded? Remember when we heard about Russell Wilson, one of the teams that he wanted to go to, the Cowboys, he'd be open to. And of course, everybody went crazy. Oh, the Cowboys, we're trading for Russell Wilson. Last I checked, Russell Wilson is still in Seattle. And of course, this morning and yesterday, of course, there's a lot of Deshaun Watson talk of moving him. Of course, the Eagles have been talking about wanting Deshaun Watson for quite a while now. And, of course, because they're not sold on Hurts. And I would say that if Deshaun Watson is able to play because he doesn't have legal issues, he would definitely be an improvement over Hurts, Flacco, or Minshew. There's no dispute on that one. It would make them actually a decent team. But you have all the baggage that goes with it. So, and then, of course, he's basically like, nah, shorty, I don't want to go to the Eagles. Team C says he's interested would be Miami. And so, of course, you hear the chatter. Well, Miami might be trading for him and this, that, and the other. But I don't honestly believe that Miami is looking at that right now. Because here's the thing. When it comes to trades right now, I may be wrong. And we can find out if I am or not between now and tomorrow. But I doubt you're going to see a lot of trades today and tomorrow. Why would you trade for a guy if you're looking at it and you're hearing that the team will trade them? What that's saying is we're going to cut them and we're praying that we can get something. Why not just wait to see if they get cut and see if you can pick them up on the open market? You follow me? Remember when Tony Romo was here? And we were like, oh, Tony, we're going to trade him to Denver, or he's going to go to, I can't remember who the other team was. But those teams didn't trade anything for Tony Romo. They figured the best bet was Tony Romo get released, we'll try and sign him there. See, this is where I kind of have a little problem with fantasy football. Fantasy football is exactly that, fantasy football. It's not realistic. You can't do what you do in fantasy football in real life. That's why it's called fantasy football. It's not real. We always think that you can instantly trade a guy and you'll get more in return than what you're trading for. I literally had people say, let's trade Jalen Smith for a good player and a second round pick. I'm all for that. I'd love that. I'd do that right now. But the reality is, it ain't going to work that way. And Jalen Smith is not going to be traded. And that's the only way Jalen Smith isn't a part of the Dallas Cowboys this year. There's no advantage to cutting him. You still got to pay him. And you're going to pay him and then have to replace his spot on the roster. Doesn't make any sense. Now, if you can find somebody here who at the last minute says, yeah, I'll give you a 7th round or a 6th round or a 5th round pick for Jalen Smith, go by all means, do it. But on the other side of the equation, you have to look at it and say, well, people get hurt. Van Der Esch, he's been injured quite a bit. There's no guarantee that any of these guys are going to hold up. Keanu O'Neal is only 216 pounds. He's a little bit light. He could be, when you get some of these big backs. You never know what's going to transpire in a season. And as far as looking at our offensive line, we looked at Connor Williams playing guard and center because Connor McGovern, we heard that Connor McGovern might be, teams were interested in trading for him. And he's looked pretty good, actually, in preseason. It makes you think that, okay, we've got another guy who's, in the kitty there. In fact, if he plays good enough, then you might look at it and say, we're not going to sign Connor Williams to one of those big, fat Cowboy contracts for the offensive line, that maybe Connor McGovern becomes the guy and you just let Connor Williams play out the string on this year and go elsewhere, get a fat contract, and get a compensatory pick. That's how you do it. But don't fall for the hype of big trades that are going to happen the day before cutdowns. Because there's going to be a lot of players out there with ability that still have treads on the tire that you can sign that might help your team just as much as one of those guys you're talking about trading for. And if they're cut, guess what? You don't have to pay them as much as if you trade. Don't fall for the hype, y'all. You won't see trades between now and tomorrow at 4 o'clock, which is only 27 hours from now. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Hope you tune in tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, for our live stream. We'll be talking about the final 53 roster, what the projections are, if there's any big trades or anything out there, and so on. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I will say, if we want to sign Nick Foles, that tomorrow after 4 o'clock, you can, because he'll be a free agent cut by the Bears. And, there'll be some names out there that you'll look at and say, ooh, let's go get that guy. I'm Mark Holmes, and, let's keep you up to date with all that is the Dallas Cowboys. Peace out. Oh, I got to turn the camera off.